Hey everybody, it's Austin here over at MeasureSquare. We have our iPad and we're ready to go inside and measure this square footage. So let's get to it. So the first thing that I look for when I enter a property is going to be the highest wall count, and it's also going to be the more centralized area. So if we take a look inside, we've got this nice large area here. It's an open floor plan into the kitchen. So if you notice, there's going to be a transition between the different flooring material. That's kind of the things that we're going to want to pay attention to. So we'll just start. I've got my iPad and I've got my laser. So we're going to just open a new project here on MeasureSquare Mobile. We're going to turn our laser on, make sure it's connected, and then we can really just pick any point. I do see kind of like a break point here, so I'm going to separate this area from the other area with the stairs and the back rooms. So we're going to go into Tools and Free Draw, place our starting point, and then I'm going to use this corner as my starting point, and we're going to measure this way around. So from here, I can grab a couple different measurements. So I'm going to go from here to the far wall. And then I am going to come back and I'm going to measure down this way. So I actually brought it towards me, but I'm going to measure back to take that one off. And then we're going to grab this wall here. We come out. Try to keep the laser as steady and level as possible, so that way you're not adding any extra onto your measurements. And then I don't need to really go around the whole room. These are all 90-degree angles, so there's going to be a lot of parallel walls, and I can save myself some time just by measuring to the points, keeping my laser flush against the wall. And we're going to do our best to measure through here. Excellent. Then back this way. Then we're going to close it up. Now we can do the back half with the stairs. So with the stairs, what we're going to use templates for the stairs, and we're really just focused on this seam right here. So that's what we want to get. And again, we're going to have another transition into the flooring area, but we can do that after the room shape is created. You'll count how many steps you're going to need. You can adjust that in the template. You know, the tread depth you can measure. So if we have our laser, we can see that this is 11 inches, and it's typically about 7 inches for the riser. So that's perfect, 11 and 7. So we got that right on the money. The templates, they do have that by default. So we're good to go. So we just need the step count, and there are a couple landings up there. So for these ones that have the step down in between, you can do a stair. The trick with that is you're going to set the tread depth equal to the width of the stair. So you'll have the 4-foot section this way, and then you'll have whatever the section is that way. So if I take a quick measurement, that'd be 3 feet and 10 inches. So it's a little bit shy, maybe, 3 feet 10 inches by 4 feet. And we do have another set of stairs up here as well. So if you want to follow me, this one is a little shorter. So you would set this equal to 7. I think if I remember counting these correctly. And then we have another landing kind of up here that we would do separately. So we're just going to go back into free draw. We're going to find where we left off. So I have that little bump out there. I want to make sure I'm oriented correctly. And then we're going to start on the back of the room, looking for that green dot. Zoom in so I can get a little bit more control. and measure back towards that way. Okay. And back this way. Back this way towards the front. And now I'm going to measure to where the flooring is around the stairs. And then this goes back towards the wall. Then I'm going to use that wall that I've already drawn, completing that there. So in this little cubby, we've got where we're going to put our stairs. So we're just going to drag a template in. It doesn't matter. You can rotate it if you want. Really, we're just going to put this in there for the quantity. So for this example, I'm just going to rotate it to make it more clear. You can kind of put it in there. You could also put it off to the side, and you can use notes to draw attention to where the stairs belong. But we'll just put that in there for now. Okay. Now we're going to go do the rest and then go up the stairs to the next floor. Here we are on the second floor. So we've got this top landing here into a hallway, and then we've got the primary room over on this side, and then we've got a bathroom and then 2 other bedrooms. We've got a kind of unique curve on the wall in this hallway here, so we're going to show you that. So let's just kind of get started. We're going to go open up a new tab to start our new floor, and I'm just going to go in a free draw and do a landing right here real quick. So I'm just going to draw this length and width, just a simple box. Again, we're going to want to make sure that we're getting our flooring area correct. And then we're going to start our hallway. Right, so we've got this hallway here. This wall doesn't match up perfectly with what we have drawn with the landing and the primary room. So I'm going to use this wall as where I'm going to start. Bigger reason for that is going to be the curved wall on the opposite side. So I want to get this wall in that right angle and then the angle coming back. So that way, I have all the walls drawn before I get to that curve, and then I can angle it and then go back in and then pull it with our set arc feature. So that's going to be the best way to get that angle. We also have this doorway here that I'm standing underneath. We have one straight across from me, and then we have a bedroom and a bathroom on either side. So we can add in those doorways, and then after we get the floor area for the hallway, of course. So I'm just going to put the wall into place, and then I'm going to take my measurement, getting this wall, measuring straight across, and I'm going to come a little bit forward, and I'm going to get this wall, so the one facing me. So what I'm going to do, I was just going to put my laser on the wall. Maybe it helps to be a little bit taller, and then I'm going to get the measurement just straight across, and then I'm going to get the measurement coming back to me this way. So just the size of the door here, nothing super special. Just getting that, making sure the laser is straight and level. And then it actually starts to curve right at that corner. So I can leave that alone. I can come back on my iPad using the switch tool, and then right where it starts to curve, maybe about right here, I always look at the floor so that way I can see where that is. Maybe you can feel it on the wall as well, and then you can take that measurement so that way you can get all the way up to here and then all the way up to there on the other side, cut that corner, and then make that adjustment inside our software. To get the curve in there, we're going to have to go to the room edit menu and do set arc. It's the easiest way. We're just going to pull that out, a few inches so we can get that curve in there. And then now we have our landing and our hallway. We can add a door in there where that landing is into the hallway. So we'll just be real quick with that. And then maybe a couple more doorways we'll add in while we're at it. So I know we have one on the far side, so that's going to be this bedroom here. And it looks like let's see, distance from the left corner. It's going to be this measurement. So we can just go ahead and put that in there. So we got that one located. Now we're going to do the bathroom. So that's going to be this one here. Distance from left or right. Sometimes it helps to put it really close to one side. So now I'm at 5 inches. So I know I'm measuring from the side closest to the entrance. So I'm going to measure from here. Now I've got that door, and then the final doors. Looks like we've got one right at the beginning for the primary room. Into one of the last bathrooms. Okay, so we got all our doors in. Now we're oriented correctly. So let's just start, I think, with the easiest one, which is going to be this primary room. So that one is a utility closet. So we have another one here for the primary room. And then going back into free draw, this is a pretty simple space. There's no real corners or anything. It's just going to be a square. So these ones are the easiest to do. So we'll match up with the top of this landing. We'll draw one for the length. You can really do this from anywhere. Usually a corner is a little better. And then we're going to go the opposite way. I'm going to measure back towards the beginning. We got our length and our width, so we can close that one out. And then now we can do primary bathroom. This one has a few different things going on. We've got a couple different vanities. We've got a shower and a tub. We've got bathroom and closet. So what I'm going to do to make this really simple is I'm going to treat it just like a square, like I did with the primary room. And it looks like these walls on the outside line up. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to look for that green dot. And then I'm going to continue my measurement this way. So I'll just do a length. And I'll do a width. Sometimes these mirrors can kind of get in the way bouncing the laser. So I'm just going to measure back towards the opposite wall. And then I can close that one out as well. So with these different areas, you can see all the way along the bottom, we've got a continuous elevation or a continuous area here. So we're just going to go tools, elevation is going to be what we're using to describe this. And it's just going to go, again, alongside that outside wall. It's going to come out, see again from the bottom, about 4 feet, and it's just going to go straight across. And then that's going to capture that. And then on the other side, we're going to have these cabinets, and these cabinets are, see if we account for the toe kick space, they're actually a little deeper than that. So let me redo this one. And then that goes out, that far. Then it goes back to the wall. And then we can close that one out. And then we can do the same on the other side. Again, accounting for that toe kick space to the wall. I did the other way around. So I need to put side on, make sure I'm measuring the correct one. And then come out this way. And then back to the wall to connect it. So we got our vanities. They're all coming up at 3 feet in height. So I can just double check that here. It has a default countertop height. Yep, 3 feet exactly. So that's perfect. We'll just leave those alone. And then now we can do the extra rooms. So we're going to do this bedroom and this bedroom. There's a couple interesting things going on here. This room has a curve much like the hallway does. And then they also have 2 closets. There's going to be one on the far side, and then this closer bedroom has one on the near side. So we'll show you a little bit about how that looks. We're going to use this edge with the curve to come and place our starting point. We're going to look for that green dot and we're going to draw our line out. We're going to measure continuing this way. And then same thing as last time, where this curve starts. Usually it's a little bit easier to tell if you're looking down at the bottom. Then you can come and measure back out. And we're going to save that for last. So we're going to switch. I'm going to go back around. And then we're going to measure out coming from this way on the other side of the door. So that only comes out a few inches or so. And then now we can come and shoot down this way. And I don't need to walk all the way down there because that's a right angle. So I can just stay here and I can put the laser on the wall and I can measure that wall from here. And then now I've measured that wall. I can measure this far wall coming this way by standing here again. So notice I'm not doing a whole lot of moving. Now I'm coming back at me. And the same thing from this side, right where that curve kind of starts. We're going to measure back toward the wall. And then now we can close our room by hitting done, go into that room edit, set arc, and then we're going to make sure that we pull that in to match what we're seeing there. Perfect. So not too bad on that. Now we're going to go to this closet inside here. So it looks like it goes all the way back to the far wall. So we know we can start all the way back there. If we align ourselves with the hallway, we know it's going to be this one. So going into free draw, looking for that green dot, we're going to measure the depth, which we can do from here. And then we're going to measure the length, which we can also do from here. Make sure we're not hitting any shelves or anything. And then we can close that out. So for this particular instance, if we're looking at the floor, there's not a seam or anything in there. So we can actually merge these. What I'm going to do is tap in both areas that I've measured. And then go and hit that merge button. So there is a closet in there. Now we're going to go back to the other room. Again, we're going to line up with our hallway. So if I start on this corner here, I'm going to be able to measure, let's see, how would I do this? Maybe that's not the best place to measure from. We'll do the other corner. I think it lines up a little bit better. So just right at the door. And then we'll come straight out. I'm going to measure that. Come back the other way. This one is mostly a square. We do have a little bit of an alcove on the other side where this wall is a little bit longer. And then perfect. So that reached out. I can use common walls to complete it. And then now we just have the closet. Same deal that we had on the other side. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to do free draw outside the place because it looks like there's a shape that I'm not too familiar with. We're going to get the depth and the length. We're going to create that closet. I'm going to rotate it so it'll fit into position a little better. And I'm going to move this over into that location. And then I can do the same thing that I did last time with the merge rooms. And now we've got closets for each, again, because the seam is missing. Thanks for joining me today. We just did the whole measure of the house that we have behind me. And we've got the main area when you enter the property, looking for those common walls, want to make sure that you're working with the more central area. Having that common wall saves you a lot of time, not having to remeasure those walls twice. We add those curved walls on the hallway and inside one of the bedrooms on the second story. We got some stairs in here, really a lot of good examples inside the house. So again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one.